Yep, burnt my tongue. Moving on. Hello everyone. Today I'm coming at you with an author spotlight. It's a video series that I want to do on this channel where I talk about some of my favorite authors or authors that have changed something in my reading journey or simply surprised me with their work. I'm not gonna go into too much detail about their life, their writing journey, because, well, if you Google the author's name, you're more than likely to find them actually talking about this stuff, so who am I to steal an author's thunder, right? What I do want to talk about is their overall writing style, a couple of their works that I have read, and why is it that these authors made it to my list. So today's author is Chuck Palahniuk, the author of Fight Club. Yes, the movie is based on a book. No, I haven't read the book, but I read other books of this author. His works can be classified as clandestine literature or underground literature. I'm just gonna read the definition of that to you because I'm bad with words. So here we go, Wikipedia. Clandestine literature refers to a type of editorial and publishing process that involves self-publishing books, often in contradiction with the legal standards of a location. The way he likes to define his works is called transgressional fiction, which focuses on characters that feel confined and restricted by norms and rules in society, and often revert to illegal ways and means to break free. The way I first came to know this author is, well, I first watched Fight Club, and when I learned that it was based on a book, I wanted to know who the author was, and a very dear friend of mine gifted me almost all his published books. So I had a collection of his works to pick and choose from, to experiment around with, and I came to really, really, really enjoy his works. His books are dark in a way that is very entertaining, but it can be kind of gruesome from time to time. I don't want to particularly talk about the book Fight Club because it's pretty mainstream. That's the work that put Chuck Palahniuk in the market and got his fame going, but I read two of his other books, Invisible Monsters and Survivor, so I want to briefly talk about these books and then go into what struck me most about this author. In Invisible Monsters, we follow our protagonist, who is an unnamed and disfigured woman who is also referred to as Bubba Joan and Daisy St. Patience. Basically, people have called her names and she assumed those names. And we start in a very unusual scene where there is a wedding going on. The house that the wedding takes place in is set on fire. Our protagonist is in the middle of this whole chaos, and this is actually the end of the book. So after this point, we work our way back and figure out what happened to get all the characters into that situation. I don't want to give away too much of the plot because the way things are intertwined with each other, it has so many reveals and twists and turns that are very related to the characters themselves, but the end result is shocking. And one of the very interesting characters in the story was Bubba Jones' brother, who came out as gay, and his parents were not on board with it. He left home, but then he died of AIDS. And after his death, his parents became very strong gay rights supporters, and Bubba Jones has to deal with his loss and the attention that is never placed on her. She obviously has an ego. The whole story is revolving around themes of identity, attention, ego, and self-disfigurement, and it's very dark, and people do stupid stuff, they hurt each other, but in the end, when everything comes together, like puzzle pieces, because we go back and forth during the book, it all makes sense, and then you feel so bad for the characters for having to go through all that pain, but also the reveal is so perfect. such a thrilling ride. I think I might even like the story better than Fight Club itself. Just saying, just saying. The second book I read from Chuck Palahniuk is Survivor, and this takes the story all the way on the opposite side. We follow Tender Branson, who is the sole survivor of the Creedish Church, which is a death cult. They basically believe that God is going to call upon them to bring themselves upon him, which means suicide. And everyone in the cult has committed suicide. The people who are not living with the cult are sent out to the real world to serve humankind as a maid or a servant, and Tender Branson is one of those people who was sent out, and then there was a mass suicide and he's the only one left. But then he gets thrown into the antics of media, his own clashing thoughts about whether he belongs in this thought process, whether he has to follow through with the cult's agenda, and the whole story starts with him on a plane that he hijacked, and we don't know what he's gonna do, don't know what goes through his mind, and why the hell he hijacked a plane in the first place. But then as you learn more and more about this death cult, you're like, oh my god, he's gonna bring down the plane, he's gonna do it. And the whole countdown to doomsday basically is facilitated by not only the story being told backwards, but the page numbers go from 200 something to 0. So there is always this urgency that we're running out of time. What is gonna happen? What is he gonna pick? And I loved this book. It's dark. It is brutal. It is so unique. I don't even know how a person can come up with this story, and that brings me to what exactly it is that I love about this author. I have not read such unique stories in a very, very long time. And although they're dark, they are thrilling, they are impossible to put down because you just cannot not know what's gonna happen. His representation of such niche groups of people is mind-boggling, and he really made me question the society and how we put people in the places we think they deserve to be in, and how that can wreck a person's life. Another thing I love about his books is that you can see he did his research, he is aware of this group of people that needs representation, and does a marvelous job at it while giving us a thrilling story. So if you want a very unique read, I recommend both Survivor and Invisible Monsters. I haven't read the book Fight Club yet because, well, I saw the movie, and since it seems like a very plot-driven story, that one reveal may spoil everything in the book, so I'm saving that for last. And I'm gonna keep reading Chuck Palahniuk's books, and I'll share my reviews of those books as well in my Goodreads, which is gonna be linked down below. I hope to make this video series a chance to discover different authors that you may have missed wandering around the bookstore. I will be talking about some very popular authors as my favorites, but I will also try to talk about some unique finds or authors that I did not hear about too much online or in the mainstream media, so I hope these videos will be beneficial for you. Do let me know if you read any of Palahniuk's books, because I like to talk and share opinions, and let me know if you like this video. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!